Hello everyone, welcome to StudyIQ English, your favorite UPSC platform in India. Today we are talking about a place called Sanand in Gujarat, which has been making news in this week. Why? Because this is going to be one such first and exquisite destination where India will kickstart its semiconductor mission. It has been in news in the last few years also because this will be the place from where India will further enhance its semiconductor processing and manufacturing. Because we all know that semiconductors are the need of the day. Whether it is about photovoltaic batteries, that are the solar batteries, or whether it is about making smartphone chips, whether it's about electric vehicles, whether it's about India's commitment to become carbon neutral by 2070, we need semiconductors everywhere. And recently, the government of India has also approved mining across 12 more rare earth materials because presently India has to import them. Very few countries, including China, Australia, Chile, are actually ruling the supply chains when it comes to the rare earth metals, the REMs, that are quite required for making semiconductors. So now, in line with our Atmanirbhar India mission across various sectors, the semiconductor mission will further be galvanized. And yes, the government is ready to promote those companies who are ready to invest in the semiconductor manufacturing. We are also trying to promote more intellectual property rights protection for those companies who will now participate in more and more semiconductor manufacturing. So let's quickly see what are semiconductors. Quite important for GS paper 3. Science, technology, rare earth materials, semiconductor processing. Apart from that, also important for clean green energy because we need semiconductors. We need the latest rare earth materials in order to further boost indigenous manufacturing of electronic vehicle batteries too. So, therefore, what are semiconductors? Now, we all know from school chemistry that there is an element called conductor. On the other hand, there is something called insulator. While a conductor allows smooth flow of electricity through its surface, it is the insulator which blocks the flow of electricity. For example, a rubber or wood. Talking about conductor, we can say copper. It beautifully lets electricity pass through itself. Hence, semiconductor, the name suggests half conductors, semiconductors. They come in between materials that are conductors and those that are insulators. Neither do these semiconductors allow a smooth flow of electricity through them, but neither do they block it completely. This makes them perfect material and the backbone of modern electronics. This capacity of being somewhere in between. Semiconductors, therefore, sometimes allow electricity to pass, sometimes they resist or block the electricity. It all depends on the temperature, the impurities, the electric field in which they are being operated on. So, therefore, today they are requiring huge importance. Now, a very good question can be which are the most common kind of semiconductors? For GS paper 3, you may have to understand a little bit about the difference between elemental semiconductors and compounded semiconductors. If you want a separate video on that, definitely I can bring it on for you. Just please let me know in the comment box. Now, talking about certain important elemental semiconductors, the most commonly used ones are silicon. Then you have germanium, you have gallium arsenide, which is used in high speed devices. Of course, you have many other elemental ones like antimony, we have arsenic, we have boron, carbon, selenium, sulfur, and tellurium. These look extremely shiny, like you can see here on the illustration on your screen. Okay, and these today are being sold worth billions of dollars in the global supply chains. Now, why are these semiconductors so special for us? One thing is because they help in controlling the conductivity of electricity through a method that's called doping. Deliberately, impurities are added in the semiconductor, which can create two types of situations. One is known as the N type semiconductor reaction, and the other is the P type. While in the P type, you have extra flow of electrons, highly charged. In the P type, there are electrons holes in between. This creates a perfect grid-like structure because together they form a structure known as PN junctions. Now, on the basis of this, electricity passes through it. Electricity is, deposited for a short time in these holes. And through this PN unique structure, they form the basis of modern diodes, transistors, including, as I said, photovoltaic cells. That is photo energy, solar energy. So there are many more processes that go behind semiconductors. For example, miniaturization. Many semiconductors together can be packed into a small chip. That's why they are easy to transport. Second, they are very versatile. Not only do semiconductors find use in computers, transistors, but also across various smartphones. We can use them in 5G services for satellite mapping, medical equipment, as well as defense. Now, India is also investing heavily right now in its Atmanirbhar mission in the defense segment. Very recently, we have added so many stealth frigates to our navy, and today we talk about the indigenously manufactured latest Tejas aircraft. There is a massive usage of semiconductor technique. Then there is AI, artificial intelligence, that's being used in agriculture. It's being used in medical science, and then we have, of course, electronic vehicle segment. A chief commitment of India towards becoming carbon free. Now, solar panels. In solar panels, it is these semiconductors that convert sunlight to electricity. Talking about LED technology, the light emitted via semiconductors is responsible for providing us with LED lighting mechanism. Talking about modern cars, they have about 1000 plus semiconductor chips installed into them. The smarter, the more automatic your car, the more semiconductor goes behind it. Because semiconductors are used for sensoring, safety, and infotainment system, music, videos, screens that are installed in various model high-priced cars. Talking about India, as I said back in 2021, it was Indian government who had allocated rupees 7,600 crores in creating its Indian Semiconductor Mission, the ISM. It works as a separate unit under the MeitY Ministry, the Ministry of Information Technology and Electronics. And let's understand why Sanand is in the news then. Because Sanand is the place where one of its first end-to-end semiconductor, that's called OSAT, outsourced semiconductor assembly and test. These pilot lines will be created at Sanand. This is a part of India's commitment under the Indian Semiconductor Mission. It's a major step towards making India self-sufficient in semiconductor manufacturing. Because if we depend too much on countries like China, Australia, and Chile, who dominate the global supply chain, we are prone to experiencing too much import in our self sufficiency process. Plus, apart from that, it is also something that makes us vulnerable to supply shocks, given that the world is having a geopolitical problem right now everywhere, including the South China Sea, the Indo Pacific region. So, therefore, we cannot depend on imports every time. India has to become self sufficient, and that's why the aim is to make India, make Sanand in Gujarat the global hub for chip designing, packaging, and testing. Ultimately, we have to produce the semiconductor chips on our own. We should not depend too much on, as I said, China, then Taiwan, Korea, and the US, who are already leading players in this sector. So, now having understood the semiconductors and Sanand being in news, let's hop on to the question for the day. The question has three statements regarding semiconductor manufacturing in India. First, the OSAT, Outsourced Semiconductor Assembly and Test, is a facility that's being inaugurated in Sanand, Gujarat. This is India's first end-to-end pilot line for chip assembly, packaging, and testing. Second, the India Semiconductor Mission is implemented by the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, the MeitY Ministry. And third, OSAT facilities deal with water fabrication, chip designing, and lithography, not with assembly or testing. I think it's quite a predictable answer, but still you could pick out, try to solve the question for your own practice. If you followed the session and understood everything, it's quite an easy question here. I have also placed the answer for your self-verification. Now, before I take your leave, here's a great announcement. For the target year 2026 UPSC exam, it's high time we brace up our preparation. And we are here making your dreams come true, like always at Study IQ English through our GS Foundation program. Now, this special sale is ending on 3rd September. That's just 2 days from now. The prices are extremely cheap and affordable for you, easier on the pocket, and yet it could mean a massive investment in your career. So please do not miss out on this chance. Enroll for your favorite course today. Thank you so much.